All right, let's begin the newspaper review this morning to see what's happening on the front pages. We begin with the Punch newspaper. Post-subsidy talks, Labour threatens indefinite strike, gives 1 week ultimatum, giving a bag of rice to 12 people, 100 million naira to each lawmaker, insulting, according to Labour. Government has absconded from negotiation table, fails to meet workers' demands, says NLC. Osage, did you predict this or did you not predict this?
I did, 100%.
Because this was the question we were asking when we had the spokesperson from the NLC, one of the representatives of the NLC, come on the show and say, does the NLC really have the influence that Nigerians hope that it should be able to wield? Can it wield any form of influence over the government? So this is a repeat pattern. Yeah. They go on a strike. They are invited to the negotiation table. After a while, they're not able to reach a conclusion. They go back on strike. They threaten another strike. Go back on strike. It's just now.
But it also is aside the part and the position of the NLC and where they also should get some blame. I think it also tells that the attitude of the Nigerian government may not have changed, even now that there's a new government in office. There's new ministers, there's a new Minister of Labour, there's new heads of the MDAs across the country. But the attitude of government may not be different towards these things. The same way we spoke about respect for court orders, and respect for the judiciary.
Yeah.
And of course, the misuse of security agencies, here and there. We spoke about this, earlier, and I said, that the fact that there's a new government doesn't mean that anything will be different with the way that Nigeria functions.
Right.
So this might be the same thing playing out with Labour. New Minister of Labour doesn't mean that they would listen to you when NLC says that they're going to go on strike.
And it's also a reflection of how seriously the government takes the people, takes the NLC first and then the people.
And takes the Nigerian people.
If the NLC is going on strike because they're talking about the incredible harsh living conditions that Nigerians have been subjected to, I would think that, actually staying at the negotiation table to prevent the strike would mean something to the government, because the effect of the strike cannot be the terrible effect of strike cannot be overemphasized. There are people that could die as a result of the strike because institutions will be shut down.
Very true.
Right? So I think that it's an important conversation to have.
But here's the thing. Over time, and this is what I said, to the NLC representative when we spoke, that over time, you cannot, so what would give you leverage when you say you're going to go on strike is because
to actually keep
over
your word.
time, and over time you have shown that every single time that you say you're going to go on strike, the body says that this is what we're hoping to achieve from these, strike actions or from these negotiations, and we must achieve them for the betterment of the Nigerian people, to make life easier for the Nigerian people. But over time, in the last 15 years, I'm going to go back even 20 years, I don't remember that there's been any time that the NLC went on strike and got the government to completely reverse whatever decisions that it had taken. I don't remember any time that the NLC went on strike and the government said, okay, we're going to increase minimum wage to 100,000 naira per month. They have not really been able to achieve anything that tangible. And so when they say they are going on strike, somehow, some way, there's the Nigerian expectation that this would end up with a couple of days of negotiation. They would have made some agreements, government will make some promises, and that's where it ends. But, the Nigerian term is see finish.
Actual
Nigerian government has seen NLC finish, if that's how you see it. And so when you say you're going on strike, it doesn't hold water.
And it just, even when it comes to parental discipline, for example, if you keep telling your child, if you do this, I will do this.
Yeah.
And you never are able to go through with whatever punishment you said, at a point they realize that you're all back and no bite. And it wouldn't matter even if you said, I'm going to punish you in this measure. What conversation we now need to have is the efficacy of strike actions in Nigeria in being able to produce the desired end results.
And also, I'm sorry. Yeah. And also, once again, I must always mention the Nigerian government itself must show that it understands the pain of the Nigerian people.
They haven't shown enough.
It doesn't need the NLC to always, propose strike action or threaten strike action before it understands what is at stake.
Anyway, let's look at the front page of the Punch newspaper. One dies as truck crashes on Lagos Bridge. This is sad. I think
we did see this yesterday.
Is the accident we saw yesterday. Yeah. Wow. UBA grows half-year gross earnings to 982 billion naira. Car washer steals customer's vehicle 3 days after employment. Your village people really followed you there. I hope that they found him and he's been arrested. Libya flood, Morocco earthquake, death toll hits 6,000 people, I beg your pardon. The continent is certainly bleeding. 6,000 lives having been lost is nothing to, joke about, and our thoughts and our prayers are definitely with Libya and Morocco. Nigerians declare goods from Cotonou port, says customs. Despite serial challenges, Nigerians believe in democracy and oppose authoritarianism. Final story this morning on the Punch newspaper. Tinubu orders probe as 901 die in 61 boat accidents. I want to hope that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration will not be the one that makes orders that are never carried out, like we saw in the Buhari-led administration, where he would order insecurity to end now, order strike to end now, order education to get their act together. And every time the order was made, it fell on deaf ears. So this probe that he's ordered, I'm hoping that in the next couple weeks, months, we should get a detailed report as to why we have 901 people who have died as a result of 61 boat accidents that we always talk about on this show.
Yep.
About how they're not putting enough attention, how these people are, I've gone on a boat myself, and the life jackets they gave me, I began to pray that, because if anything happens to you, you meet your maker.
Yes.
That day.
But like you said, Yunana, which I totally agree with you, these things should be institutionalized. We don't need to wait for the president to give an order.
Yes.
We don't need to wait for the president to order anything or to give marching orders, as they would always say, with the Buhari administration. Those things, have already been set in motion by the establishment of different MDAs across the country. That's why NIMASA is there and a couple of other, waterway security agencies. And if those ones are failing, then, it's not, don't wait for the president all the time. That's my point. People should be fired. I believe that people should be fired, but you cannot fire people if you do not have value and respect for the human life or the Nigerian life. You will not fire people if you do not have, any proper standards with which you run the affairs of those ministries. Let's go to the Nation newspaper, see if there's more interesting stories there. Crisis rocks Ondo Exco over Akeredolu deputies feud. And also on the Nation this morning, governor fires deputy governor's aides. Aida Tiwa says, I remain loyal. Commissioners and SA's G3 has been out of the country for a while. Of course, getting medical attention, abroad. Burial for Akintola Williams next month. President orders mourn icon. Otedola hails Tinubu for resolving UAE visa ban, flight suspension. Still speculative. We can also find on the Nation this morning, First Lady donates 500 million naira to 500 families in Plateau State. Wike moves to sanitize Abuja land administration. Not very many stories on the Nation. We, of course, will go on a break in a bit, but before that, I think we can quickly, go to the Guardian newspapers and see what we can find there.
All right, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, Obaze panel hunts conspirators in alleged 7 trillion naira frauds linked to Emefiele. Bandits sack 15 communities in Taraba, Monarch laments. We also have here MTN laments vandalization of sites, infrastructure, others in Southeast. I wonder why this is happening. I don't have enough information to talk about why MTN sites are being vandalized, but when there is insecurity in a nation, everybody will collect.
Yes.
Businesses, individuals, government officials, everybody must collect. It's unfortunate. I'm hoping that we can get further information in that story. 2 years after, cargo movement begins on Apapa Ibadan, $1.5 billion rail line. Petrol, diesel cost may soar as oil prices rise amid tighter supply. Hey, let the people breathe, really. If the petrol and diesel cost will soar, it would mean that the cost of living will soar, and I wonder what Christmas is going to look like in Nigeria. From Alemi to Fagbemi, in search of holistic reform for the judiciary certainly needs that holistic reform. Final story this morning on the Guardian newspaper, multi-dimensional approach necessary to curb unemployment. These are the stories that we have this morning on the Guardian newspaper. Are you nervous about Christmas, the coming months, Osage? Was it that petrol prices may increase and obviously the cost of living may increase?
Absolutely not. I'm indifferent at this point, actually. But let's, I think we can just quickly go on a quick break if we have time, and then come back to the Daily Independent
Okay.
After this very short break. Stay with us.